Welcome to 3-Minute Warning here on the Stream.tv. This is the sports show where we take 5 of today's hottest topics, break them down in 3 minutes or less. I'm one of your hosts, David Griffin, and I'm joined by Michael Medina here on my right.
How are you guys doing today? And don't forget to tune in on Fridays where we change things up a little bit. We're going to go have a more casual setting, take a little bit more time answering some of your questions. And that's the thing with the questions, too. Make sure you send them in using the hashtag 3MW.
We also have Stephen Fox up in the booth. He's our producer making all the magic happen up there. Today we're going to get this clock rolling, get that timer rolling, and get right into some NFL football.
Yes,
Specifically, we're going to talk about Chris Borland's early retirement.
It's crazy.
24-year-old linebacker, rising star. It's big news.
This offseason has just been nuts. Like, guys are just like signing with different teams left and right. Guys retiring like there's nobody's business. But this is interesting because he's only 24 years old. He's young. He's only played a year in the NFL. This is big.
It's huge. And two, it's bigger because, I mean, look at the 49ers. Willis left, their star linebacker,
Yes.
one of the better linebackers in the league, is leaving, and then he leaves. He was supposed to take his place. Had over 100 tackles last season. Great player, great young talent. This brings up the case of head trauma in the NFL, and this is the whole question now: is this if you forgive a cliche, game changer for the NFL? Is he important enough to stimulate change in the NFL?
This is big. I don't know if I'd consider it a game changer because this is something that's already kind of been in effect for the last few years now, because I know the NFL implemented a rule where basically when it comes to helmets, players have to keep their helmets. There's no like switching it. Like in college, some teams will have like 4 or 5 different multiple helmets, where in the NFL you get one, and that's it. And that's for the sake of when you look at like the junior Seaus and guys like that. So it's not a game changer, but it definitely brings more attention to this very, very serious thing.
Because head trauma is a serious thing. It can cause, obviously long-term effects on players as they age. And as they age young, too, these guys even when they get out of the NFL, they're banged up and they're still young. They're still not even 40 years old yet. But this also brings into question about, just the safety rules, the NFL. A lot of changes with the safety. I mean, you can't, when you catch a ball, you have to let the guy catch the ball and kind of move a little bit. You can't hit. Even people are getting charged for hitting people with a shoulder pad still. Which as fans, you're like, that was a good hit. That's a clean hit. But it protects the safety, of the players. So, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? All these new safety.
It's definitely a good thing because you want to protect the players. I get as fans, you think, if you're a fan of the game, you want the big hits. You want the exciting moves and things like that. We want that. But that's maybe fans being a little selfish because we have to understand these are players. These are guys that have families. You know what I mean? That put yourself in that situation. Imagine you at like 30 years old, just all broken down, and you know what I mean? So I get the rules, and they're there for a reason. I don't have a problem with it.
I think my biggest gripe was the one with the kicking.
Yeah.
Where the kickoff, they moved it up a few yards, So basically, because these kickers in the pro leagues are so good, everything's a touchback. Everything just goes back, which is kind of annoying. He's such a young athlete, Borland, 24 years old.
Yes.
Do you think he'll really stay away from the game? These players have that itch.
Yeah.
They want to play.
That's true.
Will they really stay away from the game?
I don't know. I think for him to make this kind of a decision so early, he knew the ramifications of something like this. This is big. I think he probably will, because I think if he really wanted to give this a chance, he'd stick around for at least one more season and see what he could do. But given the fact that he's like, no, I'm not even going to go that route, I think he's done.
And this is big news, but he's not the first. The Steve Young.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was older.
Yeah.
They're already successful, won Super Bowls, but those guys both left too because of right at the time. Got to reset that clock. Good topic. Got to go on to the new NHL rules. Talk some National Hockey League.
Yes.
New NHL rules to kind of spice things up, make things a little bit more entertaining, have less penalty or less shootouts at the end for overtime for regular season games. I want to do 3-on-3 is the talk right now in the NHL. 3-on-3.
That's exciting stuff. First thought that came to mind was like the old school like NBA Jam games when you had like 2-on-2s and things.
Mega dunk,
yeah. Fuego. Right. No, this is interesting because it's definitely going to change the dynamic of the game a little bit, open things up a little bit. Just imagine if you did, again, let's say take the NBA for example, and did 2-on-2 in like overtime. Like that would completely change everything about the game. So this is interesting. I think it's going to maybe help move things a little quicker.
And for those of you who don't know, quickly, NHL rules, the way it works in overtime, regular season games, they go down to 4-on-4 in overtime. And after that 5-minute period, if there's no goal, they do a shootout, which is, I love the shootouts. It's awesome. It's really exciting to watch. And during the playoffs, it's a little bit different. Playoffs, they have 5-on-5. Yeah. And then and then they just go 20-minute periods. And they just keep going until someone scores. They go all night. If it takes 3 hours, it takes 3 hours. What they want to do here, the commissioner, what they want to do is they want to eliminate the amount of games decided by shootouts. I guess it's almost like 60-40. is a number. And while I admire that, I don't know. I love the excitement of a shoot. I mean, it's cooler than even soccer, European football. I mean, the guy skates up. I mean, it's one-on-one. What move is he going to do? How is he going to juke him? I think it's one of the most exciting things in sports.
No, I completely agree. It's again, in soccer, basically, you've got a ball, you've got the kicker, you've got the goalkeeper. You can't really do that much. You can kind of fake them out a little bit. But in hockey, you really have time to like set something up and do something. So it's definitely exciting. It's so different too from like, let's say, going down to field goals in football, where like that kind of sucks when a game gets determined on that. But no, this is exciting. I'm actually kind of for the 3-on-3. I think it'd be interesting, but I mean, I don't want to completely eliminate shootouts. Those are fun.
Yeah, because with soccer you have a huge net. And that's not easy. Like, I'm not a professional soccer player. I'm sure my ball would be going all over the place. I would probably wouldn't even get one past the goalie. But you have a much bigger net with hockey. Those goalies are huge. I mean, they're in there like this. And
taking up most of the goal.
It's one-on-one. It's wild, wild west out there.
Pretty much.
It's exciting. But I mean, I love, and they're also talking about implementing a coach's challenge in the NHL. This is all the general, like the meeting they're having right now about
it's
all
kind of the
rules.
age we live in, right? Because I mean, even baseball has instant replay.
Gotta have a yellow flag. Throw that flag. Throw it. Just toss that flag.
Yeah, and managers can challenge like certain calls and stuff. In baseball, I'm talking about. So that's kind of like the world we live in now. So I could see that for sure happening in hockey.
Because hockey's already an exciting sport. It's fast. It's fun. I mean, it's just, if you ever seen one live, it's one of my favorite sporting events live. So definitely go check that out. We're going to reset that clock. We got a little extra time here. We're going to move on to Floyd Money Mayweather. Floyd Money Mayweather.
Making it rain on a daily basis.
Electrifying boxer on the planet. Biggest fight in the last, I mean, you could argue 20 years.
Yeah, boxing is not what it once was. Let's be honest. It
Manny
really
Pacquiao,
isn't.
Floyd Mayweather coming up.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're talking about some cooking, though.
Right
now, first we're talking about some cooking. He is reportedly paying his chef $1,000 per meal until the fight, which I think is going to be like 46 days of training, give or take. So that's going to be over like $170,000 or something like that before it's all said and done. Big money.
Not big, but not a bad job.
She's even said that she's a chef from North Hollywood, California. We're here in Hollywood, California, just north of us. And she said that that's not normally her going rate. She's not that expensive, but
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Mayweather's very generous with his money.
And that's the thing about Mayweather. I mean, that's his personality. That's what he's known for, right? He's known for just like, splashing the cash and living this like, fancy lifestyle, buying like Bugatti after Bugatti or whatever. So something like this doesn't surprise me.
He's big time. I mean, this is the thing though. This fight is huge. It's going to be the highest, single payday for these guys. I mean, Floyd's reportedly making 100 to 120 million. Plus, because of the productions, he gets a cut. Cut of the door. He travels large. He has Justin Bieber,
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne raps every time he comes out. Like I think one of his fights recently, he had like a carnival theme. It's like, are you ready for the greatest show in the world? The carnival thing came out. It's insane.
Yeah, he's a showman, through and through, and this is all part of that. So
Justin Bieber makes you tough, by the way. If you have Justin Bieber in your corner, that makes you tough. Guy's 5'0" and singing R&B, that makes you tough. But that's his boy. He has Justin Bieber. But this, I mean, the question with boxing, when your two biggest stars are 38 years old in Floyd Money Mayweather and 37 years old in Manny Pacquiao, is your sport relevant? I mean, that's almost 40 years old, and they're the top two athletes in your sport.
That's the thing. This is definitely a fight that guys wanted a few years back, and this for the longest time, people have been clamoring for this fight. And now it's just like Pacquiao's lost a few, Mayweather's still undefeated, but at the same time, again, like you said, given their age and stuff, I just don't know. I grew up in an age when like heavyweights were just all the rage. That's all Mike Tyson's, guys like that. Those days are gone, long gone.
Yeah, I mean, Klitschko's been like the champion for years.
Exactly.
No one's talking about him.
And that's the thing. I feel if anything, and I know I'm pretty new to this sport, but like UFC for me has become a little bit more exciting than boxing because of that.
Dana White knows how to tap into the social media. He has Ultimate Fighter, which is one of my favorite shows, reality show where you fight to get you get a 6-figure contract, you get a chance at, to compete in the UFC. I mean, he has Facebook, free fights on Facebook.
Yep. It's just
he has free fights on Fox Sports 1. You can access it easier.
Yes.
He's got an app on Xbox 360. You can order the fights there. You don't have to have pay-per-view. This fight's going to cost $100 if you want the high definition version. It's going to be super expensive. But I'm excited to watch it. Floyd Mayweather, you got to watch him. He's exciting. Our next topic, we'll start that timer up. We got LeBron James is talking about the importance, the not being that important seeding.
Yes, and health and chemistry.
Where your placed in the NBA playoffs?
He's dropping some knowledge on us, I guess, or at least he thinks he is.
Is this wisdom or is this like, hey, I'm in the second seed and I have nothing to worry about.
Exactly.
Because he's saying seeding is not that important.
And this is the thing, like, I agree and I disagree with what he had to say. First of all, we all know that health is very important, especially in this day and age. I feel like, nowadays, and maybe it's just, I don't know, my way of thinking or not, but it seems like players are always getting hurt. At an alarming rate. When you look at guys like Westbrook, he's playing great right now, but Westbrook, Rose, you look at some players like this and how it kind of affects the game, not getting having your best players out there. Right. So wanting to stay healthy, if any, especially like when the playoffs, as you get older, because LeBron is getting older, he's already 30 and stuff. So I think these things are weighing heavily on his mind. So I get that. But at the same time, ideally you would want your first round to be relatively easy. So yeah. I don't think you'd want to drop to like 4th or 5th, and have to play like a 4th or a 5th seed. I would think you'd want to be 1 or 2 and play like a 7 or 8.
I think they're both equally important. I mean, you're not going to go. You've got the NCAA tournament going on right now. You're not going to go to Kentucky and say, it's like, hey, would you have a choice? Would you rather be the 8th seed and be healthy, or the 1 seed and be kind of banged up? I think they probably pick the 1 seed, because if they're banged up, it'll help along the way. Maybe those guys have time to get better, maybe not. I mean, the NCAA tournament's so fast, but LeBron is saying that from a position of comfort.
Of course. Well, that's the thing.
And he has the best point guard, one of the best guards in the league, one of the best guards in the league, in Kyrie Irving.
No, I completely agree. And LeBron has never really been that type of player to really try to instigate stuff. I don't think I think what he's saying. I think there's definitely.
He likes drama, but
not like that. I think there's definitely some truth to what he's saying right here. But I think maybe he's just like, hey, we're 2nd seed right now. We're playing great. So we're comfortable.
How do you see the Cavs doing in the playoffs?
I see them doing really well. I mean, they've really come along. Like, Kyrie Irving's one of my favorite players in the league right now. And I mean, recently dropped like 57 points, against the Spurs, I believe it was. So, I mean, they're doing really well. And it's worries me. I'm a Bulls fan, so that definitely scares me a little bit. But again, going back to like injuries, Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, the 2 are our biggest players on the team. And that's what I mean about like guys not staying healthy enough. It affects your team. And like we were at one point, a 2, 3. And so you see how we dropped. We're 4th now. So
and sadly, injuries do affect the shape of the league. I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm from New York. I'm a New York Knicks fan, but I want Derrick Rose healthy.
Yes.
I want him 100%.
If you're a fan of the game, you want the best players out there. Not just fan of your team, but fan of the game itself.
I want Kevin Durant healthy.
Yep.
I like Russell Westbrook, but I don't want to see Russell Westbrook just doing everything on his own. I want to see all those guys. I want Manu Ginobili just went down with an ankle injury. He's out for 7 to 10 days. I mean, the NBA is better when its top stars are healthy. Even the best competitors will say they want to compete against guys at 100%. UFC fighters, boxers, they don't want to beat somebody who's at 50%.
Agree.
It's not fun. So hopefully these guys will get better. We want to see some exciting NBA playoffs coming in June.
Yes.
Coming up soon. We can't wait for that to start. So we're going to go on to our final topic. Perfect timing on that one, by the way. Final topic. We're going to go to Champions League results. European soccer, quite possibly the biggest pro tournament in the world. I'm going to call it that. First, let's talk about Arsenal out against Monaco. Michael, you're an Arsenal fan. I'm sorry to see your team go. Chelsea's gone too, so
it's not looking good for English teams.
Yeah, English.
Right now.
Yeah, we're not.
Man City, I think, is the only team that's still in it right now. But no, I mean, this was a game that Arsenal basically they had to dig themselves out of a major hole. I mean, they were down. I think. Now, here's the thing. This game they played well. They looked good. They almost.
You won the game.
We won the game
2-0.
But because of again, we finished I think 3-3. Based on aggregate. But that's the thing. We gave up the goals. That we had such a horrible performance at home against Monaco that there was just nothing we could do.
Because those who don't know, for the big European tournaments, this is the round of 16. This is the knockout stage. You do 2 legs. You do 1 at home, or depending on what your team. So you're Arsenal. You do 1 in Arsenal, 1 in London, and then you do 1 in Monaco. And the away goals you score are worth more. So let's say a team, in
the case of Monaco scored 3 goals at Arsenal.
But Arsenal scored 1, at home, and then they scored 2 away. It's 3-3. Technically,
but those 3 goals that Monaco scored at Arsenal are going to weigh heavier than
away
the 2
goals are worth
away.
More.
That's
just
the way. A little bit, but
that's the way it works.
It works.
Yeah.
So no, and that's the thing. They just couldn't dig themselves out of that hole, and that's disappointing. But then going to Atletico, that had a really good finish actually. El Nino stepping up.
Fernando Torres, former Chelsea player. Making the penalty kick to win the game. That's an interesting team. Atletico won La Liga last year. Very good team. They were in the finals of Champions League last year against Real Madrid.
Yes.
Solid team. They got rid of a few guys. Diego Costa came over to Chelsea, which is awesome. But they got back Fernando Torres via AC Milan, via Chelsea, and now he's there doing well. So, I mean, that's a team that could, make some noise in the league. They are tough.
No, they
great
are.
Coach.
And again, it's a great story, too, for Fernando Torres because, I mean, he was great at Liverpool. Did not play well at Chelsea. Went back to Atletico. Basically, the prodigal son, returning, and he's been great. It's a good story for him.
I want to go back to talking about Champions League as the best pro tournament in the world.
Yeah.
Baseball has something. They do like the Puerto Rican teams.
Well,
and
World
the
Baseball
World
Classic,
Baseball
which is kind of
Classic.
like the World Cup.
It's a
much
little
smaller
different.
scale, though.
So
Much
imagine
smaller
this would basically be like the Chicago Bulls going to play the best pro team in Germany.
Yeah.
And having this huge, no one else does this really, not on this scale.
And that's the thing,
It's such a good
especially
tournament.
because let's face it, when it comes to like soccer, Europe, that's where
Yeah.
it's at. All the big name players go to Europe to play. So this is basically determining the best club in all of Europe.
In all of Europe,
And that's
yeah.
huge. We
No,
don't
all
have
the players
anything
show
like
up.
that here. They do.
Our players, over here are so like, oh, I don't want to go to the Olympics. I don't want to get injured. I don't want to
Yeah.
get hurt. But they're Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, who's on the cover of FIFA. Those
That's
guys
the
go
thing.
play. They
Exactly.
play.
This isn't like representing your country. This is representing the team that you play for on a weekly basis.
Right.
So that's a really cool concept. I mean, how could you not get excited by that? So
Champions League is the best pro tournament in the world.
I agree.
Watch it if you're not watching it.
a
Go
lot of
check it
fun.
out. It's a lot of fun. That was our show for today. That was 3 Minute Warning here on the Stream.tv. Thank you for joining us again. Friday, we're going to have our Sports Lounge casual. Send in your questions with the hashtag 3MW. I'm David Griffin. You can find me on @GriffinDE on Twitter.
And I'm Michael Medina. You can find me at Mr. Michael Alexis, also on Twitter.
And for all your great after shows, and we got Last Night On coming up next. Stay tuned right here at the Stream.tv, and we will see you tomorrow.